Far be it from me to tell anyone how to spend their money. My office here is riddled with collectibles I probably don't need. I am absolutely sure that there are things in my life that if I said, look at the value of this, isn't this cool? People would be like, that's pointless, I don't need that. If you're excited for the Marvel Spider-Man 2 Collector's Edition, good for you. Spend your hard-earned money however you want. But today, Nate and I kind of wanted to talk about some of the problems we had with this, and I guess why we didn't really buy it. You know, just in general, why we avoided it, even though we are buying the game. So, if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, but let's just hop right into it. Now, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is obviously very anticipated, and when you have a hugely anticipated game, especially I would say, exclusive, there's going to be people who rush to get the most out of it, like the best possible version of it for their value. This game matters a lot to a lot of people. Like the original Spider-Man game for PS4, I would actually go as far as to say it changed a lot of people's lives. We were looking at this whole package, and this thing comes with a game, but it's a digital voucher code. It is not a disc. It comes with a steelbook for your non-disc that doesn't exist, and a huge statue along with a bunch of early unlocks. And I kind of wanted to get your opinion on this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my opinion with this is so overall, I think I'm fine with this collector's edition. It comes with a cool statue, which if the statue is detailed, that's pretty cool. The steelbook itself looks pretty neat. I'm fine with that. However, my problem with the steelbook specifically is, like you said, it comes with a digital version of Spider-Man 2. You give us a steelbook, which, first of all, we haven't seen the inside of it, so the inside may or may not have a slot for the disc. I'm assuming it does.
I would assume
it does, but
the disc you didn't buy.
The disc, yeah, but it's so if it does come with a slot for the disc, you have to buy the physical of it anyways to put the disc in the steelbook. If it does not come with a slot for the disc, then what's the point of it?
Right.
So it's either way, giving us a digital code for the game along with this collector's edition is very pointless, and it also kind of makes the steelbook that you give out very pointless too. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my biggest problem with this. There are some other things with this, like suits that I think are cool. It comes with, if you get the digital deluxe content, which it looks like it does come with that, it gives you 10 unique suits, which is cool. Photo mode items, I like that too. But some of my problem for these is it's early access suits.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, it's interesting because it's like the digital deluxe suits.
Yeah.
Those you only get with digital deluxe,
yes.
Which I already understand some people were annoyed with that, but I will say that you can buy the disc and get the digital deluxe upgrade. They already clarified that. I would assume it'll be $10 to $15. I would encourage you to actually go on YouTube or go somewhere and look at the suits before you decide if that's worth it to you. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't like any of those digital deluxe suits, then that cosmetic upgrade's not worth it. I would say I like about half of them from the glimpse we've seen so far. We haven't seen the full suits. We've just seen little images.
Yeah.
I like about half of them. I'd say you probably fall under about the same.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But I guess for a value, you pointed out with the disc. So a lot of times when we talk about these games and people say, you guys have an old person mindset. You guys have an older gamer mindset of you want a physical thing, you want a disc, but these games are digital anyway. And you don't own the game no matter what. So why don't you just buy the digital? It takes up less room. It's convenient. You can install or uninstall it whenever you want, so on and so forth. We've always talked about how those principles, they rely on the fact that backwards compatibility will be there forever. Mm-hmm. If not, that your console will forever be able to access the internet. So with no internet, let's say the PS6, let's just say hypothetically it does not play PS5 and PS4 games, which is possible. Because you have to think that PlayStation just recently started embracing backwards compatibility.
With just one generation.
So let's say, and I know obviously there was stuff earlier, the PS2 played PS1, and some PS3s played PS2, then they abandoned that and they only played PS1.
Yeah.
PlayStation's complicated with it. But let's say in the future backwards compatibility goes away, and maybe there is no way to access the internet. All of those digital games would be gone. Because of that, I think that they probably will, for the foreseeable future, offer ways to download them. But my point is, you are reliant on the internet. So we've talked about those, the goods and the bads of digital before, but one of the goods people always point out is it takes up less room. Don't you want to save space? If I'm trying to save space, why am I getting an empty steelbook? This takes up all the room of a physical disc game,
Right.
but I don't get the physical disc. And then on top of that, if I'm trying to save space, I wouldn't want a 19-inch statue. That takes up quite a bit of space. So this is clearly not aimed at people. My point is, this is not aimed at people wanting to save space, right? If it was, it wouldn't come with a 19-inch statue.
Well, I guess my point is this isn't really aimed at anyone. It's not aimed at physical collectors because they don't give you the game, like the physical game. They give you an empty steelbook so you can't put your physical game in it. So it's not really aimed at physical game collectors. It's also not aimed at digital game collectors. Because, yeah, you get the digital game, but you get the case.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well just give out the disc anyways, because you're already giving us a case for it.
Well, that
and
makes
then you
it
also
seem,
have this huge statue.
And that makes it seem cheap, not including the disc.
It does.
This is $220. And I just want to point out, you can buy the collector's edition statue for the original game for about $50 on eBay now.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this game will be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this statue will be $500 for all I know.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, the Elden Ring collector's statues are a lot now. But when you're just offering a bunch of early unlocks, basically, I feel like the only real draw is the statue.
That is really the only draw. And for me, with the early unlocks, too, like I know there's a couple suits that are early unlocks. From my understanding, you can actually unlock those in the game anyways.
Mm-hmm. You can.
So it's like you spend $230, I think it is, on this collector's edition. Yeah, you get the cool statue, that's fine. But then it's like, then you get these suits before you get them anyways. So it's like, what's the point then of... Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like you can play the game normally, get these suits anyways, or you could just get the suits anyways at the beginning of the game.
Early.
I guess for me, I don't really see the big draw in that if I'm going to get them anyways. You know, with the digital deluxe suits, yeah, they're not in the game. You have to buy them. I get the draw for those. But for the ones that are early access, it's like, I'm going to be playing the game anyways.
Right.
So I'm probably just going to unlock these suits anyways.
Yeah, you know, you were talking about time savers with Assassin's Creed, where it's like, oh, you could pay $10 and look, we'll reveal all the collectibles on the map. But one of the big draws of playing a game like that is just unlocking the map.
Right.
And that's kind of the same way I feel about this game is I could get these time savers and get these things early. You know, get a gadget early, get a couple suits early. Or I could play the game and engage in the game's unlock and progression system as the game was intended to do. And I could just wait and get those things then.
Yeah.
So I guess I just don't really see the point for me for the value on this. I'm also kind of worried about this statue, to be completely honest. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but when the original Collector's Edition statue was kind of unveiled, it actually looked more detailed, in my opinion, than the final version did. I don't think it looks bad, but when that original Collector's Edition statue was revealed, you know, they always play it up. It's kind of like when you go to a fast food restaurant and the burgers and the sandwiches, they look like really high quality, right? Because they get people to take a really good picture of it. They're trying to make it as best as it can look. But then you get the thing, you get a sandwich, and it's like, oh, this looks cheap. Because it was cheap, right?
Right.
And when you look at this statue, I'm not saying that it will look terrible, but I'm just saying, will it look as good as it does in the picture? And even if it does, or even if it looks better, does that justify $230 to most people? And, you know, no hate to people who it does. That's great. Good for you. I mean, to a lot of people, the PS5 itself isn't even worth buying yet. They just don't feel like it's worth the value, and that's fine too. But it just kind of seems like a weird sell. Like it's basically only marketed towards people who are the hardest core fans of the original game, because those are going to be the people willing to put up with the drawbacks of this.
And yeah, for me with the statue, I guess I'll have to see what it looks like in real life to see how detailed it is or what the quality of it is. From this picture that I'm looking at, I think it looks cool. Like it looks like a nice statue. I don't think it looks bad. I would be happy to have it. But to me, it's like, is it worth $230?
Well, because people like you and me would buy the disc as well. So you have to think like weirdos like us, which fine. I'm willing to admit, like, we're not the normal people. That's fine. We would be spending $300.
Right, yeah,
we'd be buying the game.
Physical.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the problems of this could be remedied if they just gave you the disc.
Yes.
Like if they gave you a game and they gave you the steelbook, and then the statue and all the other stuff, I'd be like, okay, well, that's fine.
Well, to me, the physical disc plus a digital deluxe voucher, that would be right there a basically $90 value almost.
Right.
You know, especially if you're including tax and stuff. So that already would justify basically half of the price of this. But for me, and I know for you, we don't really buy digital games full price.
No.
Because for me, it's like, well, part of the value of that is having the thing.
Yeah.
You know, being able to go and be like, look at all these cool games I have. Not for other people, but for myself. Just to feel like, oh, look, this is the stuff I got for my money. I think this is cool. I have fond memories of this. You know, and so with us, I feel like it's something where already you lost a lot of the value for physical collectors, which I really think that when you're making a physical disc or physical statue like this, you are marketing it towards the same people who would like physical discs.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
You're trying to have your cake and eat it too. It's like part of this is marketed at digital gamers where it's like, look at all these cool digital things I got, early unlocks, I got all these suits, I got extra power-ups, and look at this. But then at the same time, you're marketing it towards the physical people who are like, look at all my cool statues I have that I don't really need, but I love this stuff. You know,
Right.
people like you and me. And so it's like, but you're half marketing it to each. I guess I don't really understand who the target demographic is other than the hardest core Spider-Man fan of all time.
Yeah, I think a good comparison to this that I just thought of right now is the Assassin's Creed Mirage collector's edition, or whatever they called it. That me and you pre-ordered. That was like $100 less than this.
Yeah, it was $150.
And do you know what they gave us? They gave us a cool statue of Bassam, and they also gave us the game, like the actual physical game. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember if there is digital content for that as well. I don't remember off the top of my head.
There was the Prince of Persia stuff. And
that's right.
I remember you and I were joking about it because we were like, oh, wow, this comes out before the actual Prince of Persia remake. That's pathetically funny.
So it's like you have a Assassin's Creed Mirage collector's edition that is very similar to this one. It's very similar to this collector's edition. Mm-hmm. However, it's $100 less.
Right.
And they also give you the game, like the disc.
Yeah.
So I guess to me, it's like, what is the justification for this being $100 more and a digital code?
Well, I can tell you what the justification is. It's that it's Sony. Right. I mean, and I'm saying this, by the way, as we like Sony. So I think that when people watch videos like this who don't follow the channel, what they do is this. They say, oh, these guys said something negative about my God, Sony Christ. I'm really upset now. Like, they must hate Sony and be huge Microsoft people who like to sit on their Xbox and, like, you know, use the vibration function all the time. And it's like, no, I'm looking over to my right. I have a Switch, I have a PS5, and I have an Xbox Series X.
Right.
And I have a gaming PC.
And the PlayStation's my favorite console.
And I'm not rich. I worked to earn all those things over time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just enjoy video games where video games are. If there's a good game on Switch, I'm on the Switch playing it. Mm-hmm. If there's a good game and it's PC only, I'm on the PC playing it. I don't care. My point isn't just like, Sony bad, Xbox good, or like, I love Microsoft or anything like that. It's just, look at the value. And I really think that the point, what they're trying to do is give you as little as possible, I think, for as much money as they can.
Yeah.
You know, I think something like Assassin's Creed, not to hype them up because they are full of their problems, they have made so many stupid choices that they can't bank on brand loyalty. You know, they can't just bank on, well, let's charge $300 and people will buy it because look, Bassam.
Right.
No one's going to do that. Mm-hmm. Everybody would be like, you're full of shit to Ubisoft because they've been pissed off at them for a long time. But with this game, there's a lot of good grace built up with the first game and Miles. And what I really think is that, you know, Sony and Insomniac kind of together were like, let's see how much money we can get for this thing.
Right.
Because you know that statue costs them $20 to make.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it's going to be like a form of, I'm sure, PVC or mixed with like plastic, like plastic polymers or whatever. That's what all these statues are. Mm-hmm. So I guess at the end of the day, for me, it's like, if you actually look at the value of what you're getting, I guess for us, it just kind of seemed like it was based solely off of brand loyalty. I guess for us, that wasn't really worth it.
No, not really. I'd rather just buy the physical game and then buy the digital deluxe edition and get all that content.
Yeah.
And then if I want to buy the statue and it's actually not $5 million like some of them are, then I'll just buy the statue.
And if you don't want to, I mean, and if you miss out on the statue, are you really going to be that upset? I'm
not really.
No.
Not
it's
really.
It's cool. It's one of those things that I think is awesome to have for your games collection. And I will say, as a final note, I kind of wish that more things like this were made, that made like a cool statue with your collector's edition game. This practice, I personally think, has faded in popularity since the Xbox 360 PS3 era.
Yeah.
There used to be way more of these, and I applaud them for doing that. I think it's dope. I think it's real cool. But the stuff around it for the price is kind of what annoyed me and just pushed me away from it.
Yeah, me too.
So anyway, let us know what you think in the comments down below on why we must hate Sony and why, like, we snap PlayStation DualSense controllers for fun. Honestly, like, we're going to be having a bonfire later. I figured we would take our millions of dollars, buy a bunch of PS5s, just throw it in there. You know, really show Sony, like the people who bought a bunch of Bud Light and then they dumped the Bud Light after paying for it.
That'll fix them.
Figured we'd really show the company by doing that. So let us know what you think in the comments down below. Please be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shui.